My name is Erica Hale. I am on the video assignment 3 for the hand, the wrist, and the elbow for NAS295. So first we are going to start with the lateral epicondyle, and that will be right here. And then we have the medial epicondyle, and that is right here, and that one's larger and more prominent than the lateral. And then we have the ulcranon, and that will be your protrusion right here on your elbow. And then we have the radius, and how I always remember the radius and the ulna different is the radius with your thumb that will rotate or radiate, and it will be on this side. And then you have your ulna on this side. It's lined up with your pinky. And then you have your radial tuberosity, and that's deep, and it will be at the top of your radius. And then you have your ulnar tuberosity, and that's going to be right under your acronon. And then we have the MCP and the PIP and the DIP. I don't know if you can see that. So you have your knuckles, which is the MCP, and then we have the PIP, and then we have the last row here, and that's the DIP. And then we're going to do the muscle with the origin and the insertion and the action of the muscle. So we're going to start with our bicep, and that is up here at the top, the big muscle. And the origin will be your coracoid process, and that is deep in like your shoulder, right through here. And then you have your insertion, and it's going to be on your radial tuberosity. And the action is going to be elbow flexion, shoulder abduction, and then shoulder flexion. And then next we're going to have the tricep, which is the antagonist to the bicep, and it's called the three-headed muscle. And the insertion is the acronon, and the action will be your forearm extension and your adduction and your shoulder extension. And then we have the extensor carpi radialis brevis, and the origin will be your lateral epicondyle, and the insertion is going to be the base of your third phalange. I'm sorry, it's the base of your third metacarpal. So it's going to be there. And then your action is going to be wrist extension. And next we have the extensor carpi radialis longus, and the origin is going to be your lateral epicondyle side, and the insertion is the base of the second metacarpal, and the action is wrist extension and radial deviation. Goes towards the radius. And then next we have extensor carpi ulnaris, and the origin is going to be your lateral epicondyle, and the insertion is going to be the base of the fifth metacarpal, and the action is going to be wrist extension and ulnar deviation, and it goes to the ulna side. And then next we have flexor carpi ulnaris. The origin will be your medial epicondyle, and the insertion is going to be the base of the fifth metacarpal, and the action is going to be wrist flexion and ulnar deviation. The action is going to be wrist flexion and radial deviation, and the insertion is going to be the base of the second and third metacarpal, and the origin is going to be the medial epicondyle. And then we have the thenar eminence, and that is right here below your thumb. It's in a triangular shape, the part that kind of protrudes out more on your palm. And then we have the hypothenar eminence, and that's on the ulnar side of the palm. And then we have the extensor digitorum longus, and that would be right almost down the middle. It's in between. And the origin is your lateral epicondyle, and the insertion is the base of the distal phalanges 2 and 5, and this is going to be your distal part. And the action is extension of the MCP, the PIP, and the DIP joints. And next we have the flexor digitorum superficialis, and the origin is the medial epicondyle. The corticoid process would be beside the head of the humerus, and it would be beside the head of the humerus. And the insertion is each side of the middle phalange, which is going to be on the beside the second phalange and beside the third phalange. And the action is flexion of the MCP and the PIP. The action is going to be hand flexion, and then flexion of both IP joints, which is going to be the PIP and the DIP.